has given some latitude to our side on time. I'll extend the same courtesy to the members of the minority. I now recognize the gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Raskin.
Well, I thank you for your even-handedness there, Mr. Chairman. And I appreciate that roundup of the worst conspiracy theories of the January 6th canon, and I hope that this committee will help us to debunk all of them. All of them have been well debunked and repudiated online. In any event, the gentleman does not advance any counter story to what the January 6th committee found after more than a year of talking to more than 1,000 witnesses and looking at more than 1 million pages worth of documents and getting overwhelmingly testimony from Republicans, people in Donald Trump's world. If you go and you read the interviews and you look at the videos, and it's all online, you can see these were Donald Trump's people who told the story. So, you know, I don't mind any of those flights of fancy, but none of them, again, have laid a glove on what was found by the bipartisan January 6th Select Committee. Now, Mr. Romano, you ended up by talking about pardons. And I want to ask you, first of all, well, generally, what you thought about the validity and legitimacy of those pardons generally being reserved for people who show contrition and remorse and who have been reformed and rehabilitated and no longer are a danger to society. But secondly, I wonder if you would opine as to whether or not Donald Trump's pardon extends to Mr. Cole if he is indeed convicted, as his lawyer is asserting. You turn your mic on.
Thank you. I thought the pardons of the January 6th defendants were tremendously ill-advised. These were people who had been convicted after trial or after guilty plea. Many of them, as we saw, remained proud of their conduct throughout the pendency of their case, remained proud of their conduct at sentencing. They certainly, as a group of people, broadly, did not show remorse, and I think we can see that in the way that they have celebrated the pardons and tried to lie about what happened on January 6th. As for Mr. Cole, it's unfortunately an open question whether the pardon applies to him. I don't know that there's a clear yes or no, and I think that's a problem. Certainly a pardon that was not rushed through on day one in the way that this was could have been more targeted and could have not raised the sort of issues that are raised by this question.
Well, the Department of Justice under Pam Bondi has actually advanced a very robust understanding of the scope of the pardon. Has the DOJ not? Isn't she taking the position it's even applied to other criminal offenses unrelated to January 6th if there was evidence that was assembled from the defendants after their January 6th arrests? That's
true. For instance, when a home is searched and evidence of another crime is developed during the execution of that search warrant, the Department of Justice has taken that position.
So one might expect that she could take a similarly robust interpretation of the pardon with respect to Mr. Cole. Look, we should really have a hearing on this subcommittee about the people who were pardoned who've gone on to commit other serious offenses against public safety and against the people of the United States. But I wonder, is there any case in your mind that you prosecuted or you oversaw which stands out in your mind as a particularly troubling one from the standpoint of public safety?
Absolutely. The one that stands out in my mind is the case of Daniel Ball, who fought with officers at the Lower West Terrace Tunnel, the site of some of the worst violence that day, and then threw an explosive into the tunnel. He threw an explosive in, injuring officers, causing some to lose hearing. There's no world in which a person who uses an explosive device against police in close quarters should be pardoned.
Well, and to be clear, did President Trump investigate his file and determine that he had shown repentance and remorse, that he would no longer be a danger to the public?
I don't see how he could have, given when the pardons came out.
I mean, it came out on the first day, and it was en masse. It was everybody. The most serious criminals who leveled the most egregious violence against police officers, and those people who were just mere trespassers, who just went in and maybe damaged some property or something else like that. All of them were swept in together, all of them treated exactly the same way. Well, what do you think, in general, the meaning of those pardons are going to be for American public safety and government going forward?
I think the pardons are damaging to public safety. The pardons are damaging to confidence in the rule of law and in the ability of the Justice Department to fight crime. And I think that some of the rioters have received the message that violence done on behalf of the president or in support of his administration is permitted and encouraged.
Okay, well, finally, Mr. Chairman, I would just commend to everybody the testimony of Pamela Hemphill, who was a convicted insurrectionist and yet was pardoned. She rejected her pardon because she said she didn't want President Trump's filthy pardon, that she was found guilty because she'd actually committed an offense and she wasn't going to participate in the sham of the pardons. And her testimony, I think, is something that would pay everybody well to check out. I'd like to submit it for the record, and I yield back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection, and the gentleman yields back. I now recognize the gentlelady from Wyoming.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Romano, did you prosecute any